All right, we're live. Let's just make sure this is going out okay on the old YouTubes. Come on. All right, sounds okay. All right, so let's see. First things first, a little bit of house cleaning. Friday is going to be the sponsored live stream on the rise and fall of comic book writer Mark Waid. Subtitle Social Justice Hell of a Drug. I meant to do that last Friday. I didn't have it in me. It would have sucked. I was exhausted. But it will be this Friday. And probably going to ease up on taking the sponsored live streams for a little bit. My schedule a little wonky right now, so it's still stuck on a really early first shift. And there's another project, personal life project, I'm probably going to be taking on here soon. So, I can't commit to anything more than the Saturday show at this point. And also animated videos. I just did the audio for an animated video. It's actually a response to one of Davis Arini's recent videos on Black Panther. So Luke will have that up soon enough, I suppose. And Horny says he's not stepping on anyone's streams. It's a Festivus miracle. Look, I just go and I start streaming. I don't know when you guys are streaming. I don't know what to tell you. I meant to go live a little earlier here, but I got caught up for about close to 5 minutes going through the blog Goodbye America in a Photo. What's that blog called again? Let me bring it up. I want to make sure I got the name right. Goodbye America in a Photo.wordpress.com. I highly suggest checking out that blog if you never have. But not if you're already depressed. Let me put it that way. But yeah, I got caught up in checking that out, and when you really see the absolute ugliness of the left laid bare, they hate the light, they hate beauty, they hate truth, they hate life. It's just a relentless march directly into Cthulhu's Maw. The end goal of the left is to see the last human skull bashed up against a rock for being more privileged than the rock. In fact, I want to talk about Billy Graham died. Today it was announced. Maybe he died yesterday. I'm not sure. Celebrity deaths, sometimes they're not announced till the next day. But some fucking journalist, Ralph Retort, had a story on it. It was all like, yeah, I'm glad Billy Graham's dead. Have fun burning in hell. That's actually the first person I've seen. Now, I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of these shithead leftists, but that's one of the first times I've seen somebody have a bad word to say about Billy Graham. And why? Why did she hit him? Well, let me assume something, and I bet you I'm right. I'd put money on it that she hates Billy Graham because Billy Graham tells her that she probably shouldn't be a whore or a dyke. That's probably why. It was some famous atheist back in like the turn of the last century, around that time. It might have been Bertrand Russell, but don't quote me on that, who said that one of the chief opposition to Christianity was outright said that it interfered with our sexual mores, our sexual liberation. It's just cummies with these people, Somebody says, yeah, Rini tends to overanalyze things a lot. I'm not going to give away the thrust of my review there, but my main points, and I even mentioned this to Davis last night because I told him I did it because it's not going to be up for a while, is that he calls the Marvel movies, and by extension the superhero genre, Gnostic, in part because the Marvel universe and the DC universe. It's superhero genre is this sort of amalgamation of all these other genres, all these other things put together. The Marvel universe and the DC universe. It has all these crazy things in it. The cyborgs and wizards and aliens and Greek gods and Roman gods and Egyptian gods and demons and angels, all this stuff, and Davis gets upset because it doesn't all fit. Well, life doesn't always fit. I mean, Davis himself is both an evolutionist and a creationist, or an evolutionist and a Christian. I mean, he doesn't. I'm sure he can't make that fit entirely perfectly. But that's the nature of the superhero genre. It's an amalgam of all these other genres. And the thing about Davis, and I love Davis, he's practically a brother of mine. If he didn't live in fucking Canada, we'd probably hang out all the time. But he doesn't like the superhero genre, and that's fine. Not everybody's cool enough to like it. That's fine. But he then philosophizes the fact that he doesn't like it. He has to philosophize the fact. Now, like, I don't like Westerns, for example. I really don't like Westerns. Very, very rarely does a Western ever appeal to me. I'm just not a fan of the genre. I don't philosophize how it's fucking heresy because I don't like it. But yeah, that's the thrust of it. This is my neighbor thinks Black Panther is a documentary. Somebody said I think Davis is legitimately autistic. Not me. I mean, I don't think he's autistic, but so he says Davis rocks. Well, yeah, I'm not shitting on the guy. It's just a critique. I'm not into comic books either, but I like the fact that you are, and I love good westerns. Yeah, I mean, there's some westerns I enjoy. I just, as a general rule, it's not a genre that appeals to me. But that's okay. Not everything has to. Um, um, let's see. Hey, Bechtloff, I have a question for you. Have you ever felt like God has been trying to tell you something? What's your experience with that sort of stuff? I've had certain experiences over the years, many of which I don't really talk about because I know how they sound. If that makes sense. Um, I've, I, I've had encounters both with the Lord and the other team. And like I said, I don't generally talk about those things because I know how they sound. That sort of thing is the easiest thing in the world to dismiss. Damn it, dog! Why are you chewing up this fucking blanket? Because you're a dog. That's why you're doing it. Well, don't do it. I buy you things to chew on, you little brat. I have dominion over you, beast. Could take you outside with my 45. Put one right in your head. Nobody would say a thing. Bechtloff, have you not considered that maybe people aren't liking superhero movies because people already grew out of them? Well, I mean, I that can't like I know that's like a little dig, but that shit doesn't really bother me. I've long outgrown the need to feel like an adult. Um, as C.S. Lewis put it, there's nothing more childish than the need to feel grown up. So he says, "Oh boy, it's Bechtloff abuses his dog episode." Technically, it's my dad's dog, but whatever. Um, the main atheist criticism of religion towards sexuality isn't that it puts any restraints on it; it's that it puts too many restraints that do more harm than good. It's not as bad today as it was, though. I mean, honestly, I was never a fan of the religious right, um, in my younger days, but I'm beginning to see they had more of a point than I originally thought. Um, let's see. I don't think Black Panther just looks. I don't think it looks like a good movie, though. I really don't. I think it looks like the first genuinely bad Marvel cinematic movie. I mean, there's been ones that, like, Thor 2 is probably the worst of the Marvel cinematic movies, and at worst, I think it's forgettable. I mean, all I really remember about Thor 2 is, Natalie Portman's assistant throwing junk into dimensional portals. Kat Dennings is funny as hell, and she was funny in those movies. Um, so he says definition of being an adult is watching CNN or Fox News for 10 hours, then telling everyone else they're immature and wasting their lives. Talk about the Marvel refresh, bro. Yeah, Marvel is launching a new kind of status quo in May called Fresh Start. Um, I don't know. We'll see. It looks like, again, I've said for a while that I think Marvel has been trying to move more away from the SJW shit. There's higher ups that see the problems, but the thing about it is they're trying to do it without appearing that's what they're doing. They are desperately trying to get rid of all that garbage without making it look like they're getting rid of all that garbage. They want to right the ship, but they don't want a shitstorm of fucking protests and bullshit like that. So we'll see. We'll see. You know, hopefully, um, hopefully it turns around. It's the state Marvel Comics is in is sad, and it makes me sad. Um, so he says Daredevil was no prize, I guess, referring to Marvel movies. Okay, two things. Yeah, somebody points out in the chat there, Daredevil movie wasn't Marvel Cinematic Universe. Daredevil show us. I don't think the Daredevil movie's that bad. I really don't. It's really only got one flaw. It's kind of a fatal flaw, but it's really only got one flaw, and that's Jennifer Gardner as Elektra. Elektra isn't that particularly interesting of a character. I don't understand her popularity, and hell, she was the worst part of Daredevil season 2. B, Jennifer Gardner is not a particularly good actress, and she's not even attractive enough to make up for it. So pretty rough. That said, though, everything else about that movie was on point. According to Gavin McInnes, the definition of being a man is shoving a butt plug up your ass on television, then telling gamers they're nerds who need to grow up. Yeah, I love that. It's like, Gavin McInnes, he's on fucking camera wearing a dress, kissing a dude, shoving a butt plug up his ass, and then he wants to tell me, oh, you're not a real man because you have Nintendo games on your shelf. Go fuck yourself, Gavin. I wish they would do a new Spawn movie. The Spawn movie's not even that bad for a '90s superhero movie, and for being Spawn, I mean, fucking Spawn's kind of dumb in the first place. My dad had the best review of the Spawn movie ever. Because my dad loves superhero movies. He's never fucking read comics ever, but he's always up for a new superhero movie. He likes it. Um, Hell, he's been able to sit through more of fucking Supergirl than I have. But again, he doesn't read comics, so he watched Spawn one time. I asked him, I said, well, what do you think about it? Because, he's completely unfamiliar with it, never even heard of it until he saw this movie on cable. And he thought for a second, and he goes, it was like Ghost Rider if it was written by a 12-year-old. Somebody talking about Elektra said she was created by Frank Miller. Yes, she was. And she was created by Frank Miller to die a redemptive death. That's it. That character existed to die a redemptive death, was then brought back, and hasn't been interesting since. Um, Jennifer Gardner is cute, but rapidly approaching the wall. I never thought she was that cute. When you talk about a man jaw, you could cut a roast on that woman's face. Elektra is popular because she is a hot, half-naked female ninja. I guess. I mean, you know, Typhoid Mary is a more interesting femme fatale for Daredevil. A man isn't his hobbies. A man has his hobbies. Hobbies don't make the man. Works do. If you've earned the right to call yourself a man, you've earned the right to do whatever hobbies you want. Pretty much. Um, Died a redemptive death, but got brought back and has done nothing ever since. You mean like Shadow the Hedgehog? Yes, Shadow the Hedgehog is the Elektra of the Sonic the Hedgehog franchise. Um, it's a shame Marvel didn't have the balls to make her a Skrull. Back in the mid 2000s, they did this storyline called Secret Invasion, in which these shape shifting aliens called the Skrulls had infiltrated and replaced a bunch of heroes. And they first discover this because I guess a group of Avengers is fighting the Hand, which is this evil ninja organization, and Elektra's leading it because she's apparently gone bad again. And they kill Elektra in the middle of this fight, and when she dies, she reverts to Skrull form. So they find out, oh, Elektra was a Skrull. How long has she been a Skrull? Editorially, they originally were planning on just making it that Elektra never came back from the dead. She's the it's been a Skrull this whole time. That would have been a better retcon, in my opinion. But they just said, oh, it's just been a little while that she was replaced with a Skrull. All right. There's no sit in your bed. Big Daddy, you're tired. You don't want to admit it. Like a 2-year-old. Stomp around all cranky when you're tired. Got going on in chat here. I think I covered everything in the chat. Bechtloff bow hunting or rifle hunting? I don't really hunt. I mean, I shoot my guns. I go down to the range and target practice, but I don't hunt. Primarily because I think venison tastes like shit. So I have no interest in killing an animal that doesn't even taste good. You let me know when the chicken and fucking cow hunts are going on, and maybe I'll show up for that. Marvel pulled the plug on Dark Reign too early. Maybe they thought McCain would win. I guess Elektra is like Kenny from South Park, born to die. See Gwen Stacy. Yeah, Gwen Stacy. The only interesting thing she ever did was die. But yeah, I don't really hunt. I've never really had any interest in that. Is Bloodsport is to skeptics what skeptics were to feminists? I follow how you drifted there. It's a bit of a typo, but yeah, that's kind of fair. Because man, the fedoras have gotten boned the fuck out in these debates, haven't they? Sargon, man, his poor metaphorical asshole in those debates, man. You ever see that meme where it's a skinny little petite blonde porn star? I guess it's a porn star. She's like in her underwear, and there's like 14 black dudes around her in their underwear. I guess it's the start of some gangbang porn. But like, I've seen the meme once where somebody put like Europe up, like the European Union flag over, put like Muslim fucking with the crescent moon things over the black guys. Somebody should do that where it's like internet blood sports and the little blonde girl is Sargon. Um, why do people worship Gwen Stacy? She did nothing, and the only way someone made her interesting was Gwenpool. I think Spider Gwen was decently interesting, but again, that's basically taking the name Gwen Stacy. It's in an alternate universe. Gwen Stacy gets bitten by the spider and becomes Spider Woman. Okay, well, that character of Gwen Stacy in that universe has nothing in common with the original comic book character. And it's a cool alternate universe story. I'm always up for those, but um, same thing with Gwenpool. Gwenpool is an alternate universe Gwen Stacy, I guess, that I don't know, is a superhero for some reason. You know, I keep joking that at the rate Marvel was going, in a few years' time, the only white characters at Marvel would be ever increasingly stupid alternate universe versions of Gwen Stacy. Um, is there actually a right-wing argument against white nationalism? Um, I don't know. Like I, I'm a weird case because I'm not like totally on board with white nationalism, but I'm not necessarily opposed to it either. Like I certainly get the desire for it. I think most healthy nations just are usually at least overwhelmingly of one race. It's just how it fucking works. I mean, my biggest criticism of white nationalism is just how absolutist they are about it, and how race seems to be the only fucking thing that matters to them. Um, hey, Bechtloff, how are the Amish treating you? Um, well, I'm not fans of them. They're in my way, is how they're treating me. Buggies all over the place. And now Spider Gwen is being blacked by Miles Morales. Yeah, I saw those two at a thing or something. I guess I don't know. Like Spider Gwen doesn't live in the regular Marvel universe. Like she is from a parallel fucking universe, but she's constantly fucking popping into the regular Marvel universe for reasons I don't fucking know. I don't read that book, so black men have a super speed power activated only by women when they say I'm pregnant. Uh, how often do you run into the Amish? Too often. On Sundays, the buggies are all over the place. They're like flies on shit out there, or flies on an Amishman. So hot today too. I think it was like 80 today. Like the temperature gauge of my the thermometer in my car. In a little, I got one of the little touch screens in the car. It was saying like 82. Now, no, it was saying 84. But they tend to run a little bit hotter when they've been sitting out in the sun. But when I came home, it was still saying like 80. Um, so he says, I do not think America at this point can be a white nationalist state, but if you believe that people have the right to separate and form their own states, you really can't argue with that. Let me put it this way. I absolutely believe there should be a white homeland, and that white homeland should be the nations of Europe. Europe rightfully belongs to white people. America is a bit of a different story. I think America should be mostly white, but it is sort of the new world. Um, the Amish are like Muslims who are playing dress up as Orthodox Hasidic Jews. I often like to refer to them as pacifist Muslims. Forney likes to call them Stone Age Jews. The alt-right should take over Antarctica. Well, they can finally find the edge that the United Nations is hiding from us all. Spear cucks bone the fuck out. Um, Most people that argue for white supremacy are like the people that argue for helping the homeless, but in real life, they never even bother to give them a dollar. In all fairness, white nationalism is not white supremacy. Um, yeah, it's that's not the same thing. I'm hoping I can get Pastor Tom on Saturday to talk about Billy Graham some. Because honestly, who didn't respect Billy Graham? Somebody actually commented. I posted the article on the Bechtloff Facebook page. It's put above it. You can't press F hard enough here. And somebody mentioned that I guess that person knew someone that knew Billy Graham, and the point is they were saying like Billy Graham was a real deal, but his son Billy Graham Jr. seems um, like a tool. I always thought Billy Graham Jr. Kind of he always struck me as like he didn't really want to be doing this. He was just sort of trapped in his father's shadow, just trapped under the weight of his name. Um, this says I just figured it out. Beckloff is a covert dindu. Well, I mean, I do like white women with big asses. I've listened to a lot of rap. I don't care for the police. I have a big dick. So you might have a point. You might have a point there. All right. We was Vikings. Oh, dude, I saw the funny people talking about Black Panther here. So the funniest Black Panther like a joke about that on Gab, where it was like somebody said I've decided to troll by saying Wakanda instead of what kind of, as in Wakanda nigga shit is this? Oh man, you gotta love racial humor. It really is the last bit of forbidden humor we have left. That and making fun of faggots. Yeah. Um, Beckloff, have you seen Clint Eastwood's 1517 to Paris? It's really good despite the acting being a bit shoddy. I don't think I've even heard of it, to be honest. I'm so hyped for this year's We Was Kang's Medicare video. I don't know. He might not have one out this year. He had the cancer AIDS. Um, Davis Sereni's review of Black Panther was kind of cringeworthy. While he made intelligent points, the fact that he links the Marvel Universe to Gnosticism was silly. Ever since he converted to Catholicism, he's become somewhat of a lolcow. I wouldn't go that far, but um, yeah, they're calling it Gnosticism. His points are basically that the Marvel Universe has all these elements that don't necessarily fit together, at the grand kind of cosmic level. But that's always because you're not supposed to necessarily know how everything fits together. Um, yeah, there's a bunch of gods running around. You don't necessarily know how that all works because we're just people. Um, Also, he says like, oh, there's all there's just magical knowledge and magical things that people tap into to become powerful. And I'm like, well, that's just a common thing in fucking fiction. I mean, so many things in fucking fiction involve some sort of MacGuffin that gives people power or gives people some sort of power, and what do you do with it? Are you taking callers? And if you go ahead and message me on the Skypes if you want to call, why not? Um, Matt Foney says fighting words. I'm not sure what that's referring to. But yeah, basically, Davis doesn't like the fact that he doesn't. It doesn't all fit. It doesn't all make sense. Well, maybe it doesn't have to. Is my point. You know, I mean, I don't. You know, the real world doesn't always fucking make sense. The fact that you don't understand The fact that it's unclear what the grand hierarchy of gods are in the Marvel universe, what the grand overarching theology behind everything is, you know, I mean, hell, even in Christian, somebody mentions even Christianity, you have the Trinity. Yeah, I mean, I'm a Christian. Trust me. If any Christian tells you they understand how the Trinity works, they're wrong. If any Christian tells you they understand how God's sovereignty and man's free will both exist in harmony, they're wrong. So he said he just hates superheroes and wants to justify it. I hate them too. Sorry, Bechtloff. Well, blocked, reported. No, seriously, yeah, he doesn't like it. That's what it boils down to. Davis, I know you're probably going to hear this. You don't like superheroes, and you want to philosophize that as just that they're heresy. No, you just don't like them, and that's fine. Not everything's for you. But yeah, anybody, if you want to message me on Skype, the Bechtloff on Skype, go ahead. Maybe I can bring you in as a caller. The one kind of tragedy of Billy Graham's, I shouldn't say tragedy, it's just sort of, but it's when I heard he died and he was 99, I just kind of felt like, oh man, couldn't make it to even 100. Like, I know if I ever live to be 99, I am going to cling to dear life until my 100th birthday, just so you can say you made it to 100. Let's see. Oh, the other thing I wanted to talk about. The one person, or the one kid that was supposedly that interviewed after the school shooting or something like that. David Hogg is his name. Hogg with two G's, not Hogg with one G like Amy Schumer, but no, Hogg with two G's. Um, there's a lot of evidence mounting that this is a flat out crisis actor, and I don't know, man. Like, it's that kind of batshit. It's that kind of crazy ass Alex Jones conspiracy. Like, why would they even do that? It's so fucking blatant. But there's a lot of evidence, and I'm gonna try and have Luke gather up some visual evidence. We're gonna go through it, and I know a lot of it's these sort of pics can be doctored and shit. I don't know. I don't know what the fuck to think. But it's one of those things where it like wouldn't surprise me. Like, I don't want to go running off my mouth and be like, oh, he's definitely a crisis actor. But holy shit, man, I think he might be a crisis actor. And we know CNN has been caught blatantly lying before. Um, we know they've used crisis actors, but never to this extent. Usually they use it to just stage fucking pictures and still shots that they fucking use. Which I think when they get caught in, they're like, oh, it was just stock photos we were using or whatever. Never to this extent. But there's definitely smoke there, man. He says, who is a crisis actor? This guy, David Hogg. Okay, somebody's messaging me. They want a couple of people are messaging me. All right, I'll bring in two callers. How about that? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and send you both I got 2 callers. I'm gonna go ahead and send you both an invite. But you're both gonna have to be polite. And don't be talking over each other and shit like that. Yeah, I'm trusting everybody to be fucking adults here. Right? Don't go all fucking crazy Beardson on me, screaming about fucking nonsense. Somebody says something weird is going on. Yeah, there's definitely something to that crisis actor shit. Winter Soldier is the best Marvel movie. I don't know if I'd say it's the best, but it is pretty damn. The Captain America movies are basically the best. I think Avengers. I like Avengers 1 and 2 more, but I'm just more inclined to like the bigger, you know, everybody's involved kind of stories. But Captain America 1 through 3 are absolutely fantastic. Civil War is probably the best of those movies. Maybe with the original Iron Man and the original and Doctor Strange being close seconds, but there's a lot of damn good ones. Like I said, even the bad ones are just guilty of being forgettable, in my opinion. The first Thor movie is interesting because it's very comedic at times, and it's interesting how much it actually. If you've ever seen the movie The Return of the Incredible Hulk, um, which was a continuation of the '70s TV show. Like after they got canceled, it returned for 2 TV movies. Three. It was Return of the Incredible Hulk, Trial of the Incredible Hulk, which was actually guest starring Daredevil, was meant to spin off into a Daredevil TV show that never happened, and The Death of the Incredible Hulk. Death of the Incredible Hulk I've never seen. I've heard it sucks though. Return of the Incredible Hulk, though, is guest starring Thor, which again was meant to spin off into a Thor TV show that never happened. But it's amazing how much the Marvel Cinematic Universe Thor movie borrows from Return of the Incredible Hulk. Like if you ever get a chance to watch it, do, because it's actually pretty good. For 70s TV movie. Might be 80s at that point, I don't know, but still worth checking out. And it is funny after you've seen. It's funny as I was watching Thor in the theaters back when it first came out. I'm catching all these notes and these lines and shit that they left it right from the old Return of the Incredible Hulk movie. Bechtloff, I was thinking Marvel movies are going to Guardians of the Galaxy, lots of cosmic comedy junk. It's worrisome. Well, it's all building up to this Thanos thing. So, I mean, it kind of makes sense that that's the direction they're going. Somebody says, "Oh man, I love Bill Bixby and the whole sappy sentimentality of that series." Yeah, it was a great show for its time. Let's see. I don't know. I sent you guys links. You hopping in or not? Y'all been sent links. And you see my call. Yes, I sent you a link. Here, I'll send it to you again. Boom. There you go. Boom. I don't know. Your Skype's being wonky or something. I sent you both a link. Matt Forney says, "My earnest hope is that the current comic book movie craze crashes and burns, not because I hate comics, but because it seems like the easiest way to destroy Hollywood once and for all. It is damn near the only thing keeping Hollywood up right now, isn't it?" I think maybe in the last 3 years there's been 2 movies that weren't fucking comic book movies I went to go see in the theater. But that's kind of a shame, though. I mean, it's such a shame that you know, there's no fucking fun shit anymore. That like, such a shame. Oh, I know what else I want to mention. A little comic uh, recommendation. I was at a used bookstore the other, I guess like a week ago, Second and Charles, and they had the first two volumes in trade paperback of the IDW Ghostbusters series, and it is absolutely fantastic. I've read a little bit of it. I read the two Ninja Turtle crossovers primarily, and I read there's like an interdimensional crossover where that version of Ghostbusters meets the parallel universe version of Ghostbusters. That's the old '80s cartoon. Um, so I've read a little bit of it, but this is when I started reading the main series, these first two volumes, and they're fantastic. If you liked Ghostbusters, and if you didn't like Ghostbusters, you're fucking wrong. But and I'm talking about the real Ghostbusters, the, those not the Grossbusters, not fucking not the three lesbians and a gorilla. Um, so yeah, I highly recommend that comic. The art is just a touch stylized and cartoony, which can be off-putting initially. Um, but it's very well done art. It's not overly stylized, and it's very expressive. Um, but yeah, I highly recommend it. Matt Forney says Hollywood nearly got wiped out. And by the way, guys, I sent you guys both links on Skype. I can't do anything else. If you're not getting the links, I don't know what to tell you. Maybe my Skype is all fucked up or something, but I sent both of you links twice. Hollywood nearly got wiped. Uh-oh. It looks like...
Hey, Bechtloff, can you hear me?
I can hear you. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to tell you about that 1517 to Paris movie.
Okay.
I just thought you might want to see it since you don't want to see We Was Wakandans. That's out right now. It's actually, do you remember the when those three American guys stopped a train attack that was heading to Paris?
Vaguely, yeah. Yeah, I remember that
like
story.
2 years ago. It's a movie. It's a movie about that, and it's actually the three main characters are actually the guys that did it.
Oh, that's kind of cool. Although, I mean, that one would worry about how their acting is.
I mean, it's like I told you, the acting's a little shoddy, but I'll tell you.
I know they're playing themselves, but it's increasingly difficult for an amateur to act natural in front of the camera.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this: it's better than you would expect, because it's kind of the similar thing with I don't know if you've seen Gran Torino, but
yes, Gran Torino's fantastic.
Yes, it's fantastic, but those were all very shoddy actors too. But the thing about Clint Eastwood is that he's very good at directing people who aren't actors.
Well, that was sort of masked by the fact that half the characters were, what were they, supposed to be Vietnamese or something? So half the time they're not even speaking English.
No, I mean,
so it sort of masked any kind of bad acting.
A little bit, but no, come on. Like, do you remember the Asian girl in that movie?
Yeah, but they were, I mean, but Asians are almost always autistic anyway, so I just assume that that's just how they are. I mean, yeah, they were coming off kind of wooden and stuff like that, but I just figured that's just Asians being Asians.
But yeah, but I'll say the acting's better than you would expect, and it's a very good movie. Like, I wouldn't say it's his best movie by any means, but I would rate it a little under Gran Torino. It's pretty good, and I mean, just I don't know. Just I mean, I don't know. I'm a little biased, and I think you probably will be a little bit too. But I think just the kind of pro-American message just kind of kind of overlooks a lot of that, especially especially with We Was Wakandans coming out right now.
It's such a shit. You know, Black Panther, it doesn't particularly look good. And I've never given much of a shit about Black Panther anyways. But I've said numerous times, I'll say it again, the almost the greatest tragedy would be is if this is a genuinely good comic book movie. Because of the retard circus surrounding it, it will forever overshadow it.
You know, I'll say I haven't seen it, but I've watched reviews of people who basically spell out the whole plot. And I'll tell you, like, you know,
it doesn't sound good.
No. It's not that it doesn't sound good, but it reminds me of a different Marvel movie. It reminds me of the first Thor movie. Because, I mean, do you care if I spoil it or not?
No.
Okay, so essentially...
I'm probably going to see later Marvel movies before I see it, so you might as well spoil it.
Okay, so essentially the main conflict... Well, again, I'm going to paraphrase very much here because I just don't give much of a shit about this movie. But basically the main conflict is that the Black Panther character, which I think his name is Cthulhu or something like that, he's the king of Wakanda, and he has like this cousin who was abandoned in Compton, and his name's Killmonger. And honestly, I don't know if that's canon or not, but I thought that name was.
I don't know a tremendous amount of Black Panther, so I couldn't tell you.
But essentially, it's that he grows up in America, becomes like a spec ops agent, and is kind of a psycho, and comes back to Wakanda and takes over the place. So it's essentially like a Thor Loki dynamic. Like it's like if you saw the first Thor movie, that's basically what it is. There's obviously more nuances to the story, but when I listened to like people spoiling it and the general synopsis, it just so much reminded me of just the first Thor movie.
The only thing one of the few like little tidbits about Black Panther in the comics that I know, because I've never, you know, the handful of times he's had his own series, I've very rarely read it. I'd pop in here or there if there was guest stars that interest me or something like that. But this is from the old Jack Kirby 70s Black Panther story. But he has this, like, you know, in his royal armory or whatever the fuck, he has this weapon called King Solomon's Frog. And it's literally this magic fucking frog statue that King Solomon used to apparently fucking own. I tried to Google to see if this is an actual piece of like mythology or if Jack Kirby pulled it out of his ass, and I'm pretty sure Jack Kirby pulled it out of his ass. But it can teleport you damn near anywhere in time and space, including other universes. But it's sort of sentient and kind of a dick, so he never uses it.
Oh, so it's Keck.
Because like sometimes it'll like send you to hell or something.
So it's Keck.
Yeah, it's basically Keck. It's like, a lot of times it helps you out, but sometimes it fucks you over just for the fun of it.
Oh man, I wish that could have made it into the movie.
Yeah, like that would be a more interesting movie. Is him playing around with King Solomon's Frog?
Yeah, but honestly, it sounds like it's literally the Thor movie minus the whole he gets exiled by his dad. It seems like almost the exact same plot.
Black Panther did a really good domestic weekend, from what I heard, but it is not going to do good. It's not going to do good in the China market at fucking all. They're not particularly fond of the black folks. In fact, the posters actually have him in full costume without his face showing and like nothing else. Yeah,
well, and let me tell you, like the whole reason I saw 15 to 17 was that my dad, I saw him over last weekend, and he really, really wanted to go see Black Panther, and I was like, no, let's go see this Clint Eastwood movie, please. He was all like, oh, but it has such good reviews, and you know he doesn't know anything. Like, you know, he's like, he's in his 60s. You know, he doesn't know any of this political bullshit. So I was just saying, like, come on, let's go watch the Clint Eastwood movie. Like, what Clint Eastwood You
I
thought that
was
was bad.
fucking blissfully unaware of like this
I
racist
know.
bullshit. Like I wish I would just want to decide to go see Black Panther based on whether or not I want to go see Black Panther. I honestly wish I didn't have all this bullshit like weighing down on me and shit.
I know it just makes you. It almost makes you feel like Anita Sarkeesian or something, right? Like you gotta
Yeah,
see
it's like I have to
little.
I have to take a stance in the culture war over whether or not to fucking watch this movie now. I can't just go see a movie or don't go see a movie. No,
Yeah,
it's I have to fight a fucking race war about a goddamn movie.
yeah, but honestly, like at least from what I saw from other reviewers, like that Irish guy that gave it a 3 out of 5, it sounds like it was pretty much right. I would say like it seems like the biggest difference between that movie and the first Thor is that the first Thor has a lot more action. Like it seems like there's more pseudo political bullshit in
The
the.
first Thor is also funny as hell at times.
Oh yeah, I know.
But what I think more and what Marvel movies in general have done really well with comedy is that they just let comedy flow from just the outlandishness of the situation. They don't try to force it. They don't throw in like winking at the camera, pop culture references. They just
Actually, you know what? You just made me realize another big problem with the Black Panther movie. Even though I haven't seen it, like
is it big old
from
is
my
like
understand,
is
from
there
my
Sprite product placement?
no, it's not that. It's from what you were saying about the fish out of water situation. Is that it sounds like these characters aren't even a fish out of water because they're in this isolated situation, but they somehow understand everything about the outside world. So you don't even get that little bit of entertainment with it. Like
The one criticism Davis had, and he was half right on it. He was talking about how like, oh, they're this advanced civilization, but they have a tournament and fight with spears to pick a leader, and there was a guy with a plate in his lip and shit like that. Well, he was half right in that. Let's face facts. The predominantly fucking white writers of both Black Panther comics and the movie, I would imagine, they don't know jack fucking shit about Africa. So they're just going to throw a bunch of stereotypes together and go, look, African culture. You know, it'd be like, I don't know anything about Australia. So if I was writing about Australia, it'd be like kangaroos and fucking Crocodile Dundee and Outback Steakhouse, because that's all I know. Right? So I don't know the finer points of Australian culture. So likewise, these guys, they just throw a bunch of African fucking things that come to mind about African culture. But what is actually, while it's done in a very shitty way, what is interesting about that, what is kind of cool about that is I sort of like the idea of an advanced civilization that would then hold this tournament fighting with spears, because I like the idea of a civilization being highly advanced and holding on to remnants of their tradition. I think
yeah,
that's
like
very, very cool.
that's the one thing about Davis's review I didn't like.
And you got it, like, oh, why would they use spears? Well, maybe there's just a certain ceremonial element to it. Like in the comics, Doctor Doom has, I think it's like a 911 fucking old school revolver. He has like a holster over his fucking armor with this revolver, right? And it's like, well, why would he have this shitty fucking, antique gun when he's running around in high tech Iron Man armor and he's also an accomplished sorcerer? Because once in a while he likes to pull that out for execution purposes because the motherfucker's got class.
Well, I mean, and also
and likewise, I like the idea. Now, again, it's the fucking plate in the lip thing sounds fucking ridiculous.
Well, yeah,
but I like the idea.
Yeah, but here's the thing: is that it's supposed to be it's supposed to be like an honor-based culture, though. I don't think Davis would have had that criticism if it wasn't a superhero movie. Honestly,
I saw somebody who reviews swords online. Somebody sent me the video, and they were talking about the Klingon Bechtloff and how it's not a very good weapon for hand-to-hand combat. And he's talking, how it's so stupid because it's not a very good weapon. And I kind of thought, well, the Klingon Bechtloff always struck me as some sort of ceremonial weapon. And often ceremonial weapons are not the most efficient fucking thing in the world. So I think the Klingons literally just, like, some Klingon 1,000 years ago made it because he thought it looked cool, and somehow it caught on as a ceremonial thing, and they all walk around with him, not because they're actually that fucking badass, but because it's probably tied to their religion somehow, and it looks fucking cool.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the kind of thing is that if you have thousand-year-old traditions, I'm sure they're probably going to be impractical at some point.
And yeah, there's no reason to have anything but maybe a dagger if your fucking phaser runs out of batteries or whatever the fuck a phaser uses.
Yeah, it's like I said, I really don't think Davis would have had that criticism if it wasn't a superhero movie.
Now, I will say, I will agree with him on the point that, like he said, if I had done this movie, they'd call me a racist for it. Because, yes, I'm sure all the African heritage bullshit in it is all just a bunch of stereotypical shit. Because, the guys writing it don't fucking know anything about Africa, all right? So they're like, I don't know, they got a plate in their mouth, and they're throwing spears and whatever, I don't know. They worship Ooga Booga, the sun god, I don't fucking know.
Actually, you want to know something funny? Like, I posted this on my Facebook. If you go to the IBBM, like how they talk about how it's an all black cast and it's a black director. Look at all the writers and producers.
Yeah, no shit.
But and also like when Davis was talking about the Gnostic thing, I mean, like I'm not extremely versed on Gnosticism, but I think his general point is that I think like the main thing about Gnosticism is that like good and evil are basically equals, and he sees that in like the superhero universes. And I kind of do too. Like I think he kind of brought up a good point when he was talking about I think it was the Justice League, and he said they basically have a nuclear satellite orbiting the Earth that kind of domineers over it, but they're protecting it from like quote unquote villains who want to do that.
Well, I found that critique especially interesting coming from a monarchist. Like, really, Davis? Really, you're mad that benevolent leaders have assumed power for the sake of the sake of the people under them?
No, but I can kind of see where. Yeah, but I mean, but they're not trying. But keep in mind, they're not trying to be monarchists or anything. Like they're supposed to be all for the people. I think that's kind of his point. Like the villains are the villains are supposed to be.
There's something inherently anti-egalitarian about the superhero genre. I mean, you can have a character like Green Arrow spout off with as much leftist bullshit as he wants to, but at the end of the day, his mere existence points at any kind of egalitarian ideal. He is part of an elite group of people who often operate outside the law for the benefit of the people around them.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. I mean what I'm saying is just that I think his and not necessarily that I agree with it, but I think his point generally was that the villains who are in it for themselves and the superheroes who are supposedly in it for everyone end up doing the same things. I think that was his general point. And I don't necessarily agree with that, but I kind of see where he's coming from. A little bit. But then again, I don't see really the point in thinking about it that much because, I mean, it's comic books, it's superheroes. It's just supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be good guys versus bad guys. Like, you're not supposed to thinking about it in this huge philosophical way most of the time.
I mean, like, you can, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with
any kind of good sci-fi will pose questions for you. Again, I just think Davis's big thing is he's just, he's just philosophizing away the fact that he doesn't like it.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. And And I'll admit myself, I'm kind of on and off with comic books. Like basically, the only comic book series I've ever read fully was the oh man, the name escapes me right now, but you know Spider Jerusalem.
Mm-hmm. Transmetropolitan.
Yeah, Transmetropolitan. Oh, that's such a great comic book.
You know, I never read that. I kind of
You really should. I mean,
I've been meaning to, but for the longest time it was because it was right around, I think it was like the late 90s, early 2000s, and there was a lot of really pretentious bullshit getting pushed in the indie market.
yeah,
Stuff like Preacher, where it's just a lot of like fedora shit, and then Invisibles, I think, was going on over, I think, Image, and just a lot of pretentious bullshit. And I kind of, for the longest time, lumped Transmetropolitan in with that because it does sort of look like that,
well, no,
you know.
well,
But I've heard enough good things about it over the years that have persisted long after people stopped talking about all that other shit that I
yeah.
think I will check it out.
Well, I'll tell you this: being someone who's read, I haven't finished it yet, but being into it, I'll say that it is a little bit fedora. It honestly is, but everything else about it just way overshadows that. Like because like you know basically the character Spider Jerusalem, he's basically Hunter S. Thompson. If Hunter S. Thompson was more self aware and kind of a badass superhero kind of guy. Even though he's not really he's kind of like a Punisher character, a little bit.
Hmm.
He's like a mix of Punisher and Hunter S. Thompson. And I don't know, it's a really interesting mix. But like the best part about it is that it's not even the character itself; it's the world he lives in. Like like I won't spoil too much. Like I won't spoil too much about it. But one of my favorite parts in the original version is that have you seen any covers of it where he has like his goofy glasses?
Mm-mm.
Like the oh
Yeah, the glasses. I'm sorry, yeah.
yeah, the weird glasses where one lens is different than the other. Okay, well the reason why that happened is because he went to a replicator machine in his apartment he just bought, and then it came out like that, and he was just like, "Ooh, what the fuck?" And then he looked like behind the machine, and there was a little cartridge in the back, and he was like, "Oh, my machine's on drugs." Like it's it's just a really weird, interesting like I don't know because it like what's funny about it is that it's almost like the world it exists in. It's almost like to me it's almost like a three-way parallel between like the Judge Dredd universe, Brave New World, and 1984.
Hmm. Well, I might have to check that out.
I think you should. I think you would probably like it, even though I will admit it's sometimes funny, but it's a lot of it's kind of depressing. So,
All right. Well, anything else on your mind there?
um, actually, I did have one more question for you.
Okay.
What did you think about the original Hulk movie, the one with what was his name, the actor Sam Norton?
You mean the Incredible Hulk one that's actually in the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
No, the one that's not.
Oh, the one from '03.
Yeah, the one that from '03 where
Yeah, the Ang Lee one. That is hot garbage.
Oh, really? You think so?
Oh, that movie is fucking awful. The casting is good in it, but it's just terrible on so many levels.
I was like, what do you not like about it? Because, me personally, I was a young kid when I saw that movie, so I have a little bit of nostalgia for it. But then again, I might have just gotten roped into like the pretty lights and
It meanders around. It crawls up its own ass a bunch of times. I mean, I almost defy anyone to explain to me the point of that movie. Like, I literally, I saw that movie and I'm like, fuck did I just watch? And it's so weird too, because I expected it to be good. I mean, like, I thought like it's the Hulk. How do you fuck up a Hulk movie? You know, scientist is working on super weapons. Super weapon backfires, turns scientists into Hulk. Hijinks ensue. From there, the movie writes itself. You leave the script on the table. You go take a nap. The script's done. And I'm watching this movie and I'm just like, the fuck is going on in this goddamn movie?
Yeah, because like that's the thing is that like about a month ago, me and one of my buddies, like we were both fans of it, but we haven't seen it in a long time. We watched it again, and I'll admit I still like it, and it's probably a complete nostalgic thing, but we both thought it was way too over dramatic, and there was way too much talking, and way less Hulk. Like that was the funny thing about it. There was way less Hulk than I remembered. It makes me think I just remember the parts where it was the Hulk.
The Incredible Hulk movie with Edward Norton, which is sort of the bastard child of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it's a pretty damn good flick. But yeah, the first Hulk movie, man, that was rough.
Yeah, that's actually one thing. Is just that I think that Edward Norton would have been. I think he would have been much better as Bruce Banner than whoever the fuck that other guy is.
Actually, I really like Mark Ruffalo as Bruce. Now, I liked Edward Norton a lot. Don't get me wrong. I like Mark Ruffalo a little better though. He's very awkward and like he's got a bit of the tism in him, and I like that about like the scientist character. You know, too often, too many of these scientist characters in Marvel end up like Tony Stark, where they're just fucking charismatic and shit like that. No, most of them are probably going to have all kinds of tism. You know?
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to let you go. I'm going to check the chat and then probably wrap up this stream. So.
All right. You have a good night, Bechtloff.
Yep. All right. Okay. So I'm going to go through the chat here, see what's going on with the chat. Let me scroll up. Okay. Where were we here? All right. That looks like over. I wish Marvel would do a Starjammers movie set during a Skrull Shi'ar War. I'm not sure. Starjammers might. Well, I guess maybe that they're getting the X-Men rights back, but I was going to say that might count as an X-Men character or X-Men concept, I guess. Let's see. Somebody said kids' entire classes are being taken to see Black Panther. When did that ever happen? Shit, man. 9/11 revolver. You're so wrong. It's adorable. What did I say? 9/11 revolver. What the fuck did I? What the fuck was I talking about? God, I was thinking of like I was like half thinking of a 1911, and like I don't fucking know. I got shit. Whatever. It's live, okay? I misspeak. It's easier to hurt yourself with nunchucks than someone else. Yeah, I remember as a kid, you know, being all into Ninja Turtles and shit. I think somebody bought me like plastic nunchucks, like Michelangelo nunchucks. And yeah, you just hit yourself in the face with them. That's all. Now they're a little plastic, like doesn't really hurt ones, but yeah, that's all you fucking do. You hit yourself in the face with it. In a way, Michelangelo is the most skilled of all the turtles because he has the gayest weapon, and he still manages to beat people with it. I mean, anybody can hit somebody with a fucking katana and kill them. Anybody could stab somebody with a sai, or even Donatello. Anybody could just beat somebody with a stick. But to actually win a fight with nunchucks, that takes skill. Let's see. A bunch of people talking to each other. Arguing over which cities in upstate New York are shittiest. I clicked the damn like, yes. Somebody says I sent you a message on Skype. Yeah, I sent you the Hangout link twice there, Cartrell. Adventure Kid. Can you send me an invite? I sent it to you twice. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and wrap this up. All right, folks. If you enjoyed the show, you can always hit that Patreon or that PayPal, support the show, or the Amazon wish list. Gotta get that fucking Coinbase done up so I can take the Bitcoin in. And if you haven't already, follow me on the Gab, the Bechtloff on there. Follow me on Facebook, facebook.com/the Bechtloff. Give it a like or follow, whatever the fuck Facebook does. And yeah, that's about all I got for tonight, folks. Friday night will be the Mark Wade live stream, the rise and fall of Mark Wade. And yeah, that's about it for tonight. Thank you all for listening. Bechtloff out.